Hey everyone, let's talk about Africa, a place bursting with different cultures and languages. It's like a giant storybook filled with tales passed down through time. Imagine sitting under a sky full of stars or around a warm fire, listening to these amazing stories. They're not just for fun, they're packed with wisdom, history, and the heart of African culture. They're like time machines carrying the voices of ancestors and showing us what life was like long ago. These stories, called folktales, myths, and legends, give us a peek into what people believed, what they valued, and how they lived. From busy markets to wide-open grasslands, these stories have shaped Africa for centuries. Long ago, when writing wasn't common, storytelling was the best way to keep history and culture alive in Africa. Special storytellers called griots were like the stars of their communities. They were so good at grabbing your attention with their exciting voices, big movements, and twisting plots. Griots weren't just entertainers, they were like walking history books, advisors to kings, and the memory keepers of their people. They used music, songs, and dance to make their stories even better, taking listeners to faraway places and times. Thanks to them, their culture lived on, and people felt connected to their history. African folktales are as different and exciting as the continent itself. Each region has its own special stories and characters. In West Africa there's Anansi the spider, a clever trickster who outsmarts bigger animals. These stories teach us about being resourceful, solving problems, and not being greedy. In East Africa, the stories often focus on animals like lions, elephants, and zebras. They teach us about bravery, respecting nature, and living peacefully with the environment. Have you heard of Anansi the spider? He's a big deal in West African stories, especially for the Akan people of Ghana. He's a spider, but he acts like a person, and he's famous for being clever, tricky, and always wanting more stories. Anansi always uses his smarts to beat bigger, stronger animals, showing that brains can be better than brawn. There's a famous story about how Anansi got all the stories in the world from the sky god. He did it by completing tricky challenges, proving he was worthy. He brought the stories back to Earth, becoming the guardian of stories and wisdom. Anansi's adventures teach us to be resourceful, use our words wisely, and be careful about being greedy or dishonest. Let's travel to East Africa, a place where animals can talk. East African stories are full of talking animals, mythical creatures, and magical things. These stories show how close people are to nature and how important it is to respect the environment. The Maasai people, who live with their animals, have lots of stories about lions, elephants, and other animals they see every day. These stories teach us about courage, respecting elders, and the importance of community. One story tells of a young Maasai warrior who has to conquer his fears and hunt a lion that's been scaring his village. African stories aren't just for fun. They teach us important lessons about how to be good people. They teach us to be honest, kind, and respectful to older people. They also show us what happens when we're greedy, jealous, or dishonest. A lot of African stories show good winning over evil. Characters have to make tough choices, and we see what happens because of their decisions. These stories remind us to make good choices and not give in to temptation. African stories aren't just made-up tales, they're a big part of what makes different cultures special. They show us what people believe, what they value, and how they see the world. For example, creation stories explain how the world began, and where humans fit in. Stories about spirits and gods show how important family history is, and the belief in a world beyond what we see. These stories help people feel like they belong, connect with their history, and understand their place in the world. Today, with the internet and so much technology, it's super important to keep the tradition of storytelling alive. Young people are spending more time online, and these old stories could be forgotten. We need to save African folklore so these amazing stories can be shared with future generations. Things like storytelling festivals, cultural exchange programs, and online archives can help protect these stories and let more people enjoy them. African stories are so powerful that they still touch people's hearts today, no matter where they come from. They talk about things everyone understands: love, sadness, bravery, and the fight between good and evil. Even in today's world, These stories teach us about human nature, the importance of community, and how storytelling connects us to our past, present, and future. By keeping these stories alive and sharing them, we honor our ancestors and make sure their wisdom continues to inspire us.